Okay, so in previous class we were studying about the vascular disorders, peripheral vascular disorders. In that we segregated the things in venous and arterial form. So another disease which is related to the arteries or aorta, it is called as aneurysm. If aneurysm is there, what is aneurysm? It is due to the enlargement of a blood vessels. Okay, so normal blood vessel is in the form that it is very straightforward, it is patent enough and it is not enlarged. It is having a patent diameter all over. But here what is happening? The vessel is getting bigger in diameter at particular place. Okay, and this is what, because of the weakening of the blood vessels, it is weakening the arterial walls, it is weakening the venous supply. Okay, so this is what the reason is. It is leading to the weakening of all the blood vessels. That can be arterial, it can be the venous one. So what is the reason beside that? We will study one by one. But let's see how it has been enlarged and how it has been weakened. Causes are atherosclerosis. I told you one of the reason is deposition of plaque. If plaque is deposited in the arterial walls, it will just block the or occlude the diameter of passage of the blood vessels from where the blood was flowing very patently and efficiently. But due to that plaque deposition, that flow will be somewhere obstructed. To cover up that or to compensate that blood flow, atherosclerosis to be covered up, the body will have some kind of mechanism and they will aggregate the platelets, the force of blood and pressure will be more. So because of that, more of the diameter will, elasticity will expand. Just take an example, if you are trying a jeans, it is not of your fit, but you are just trying to pull it out and it is like expanding. Its elasticity is getting loose day by day. So same thing it is happening with the blood vessels. Next is genetic. Okay, it can be genetic cause, and if the vessels are affected, it is also known as Marfan syndrome, and it is hereditary disorder which is leading to the loss of elasticity and loss of the normal diameter of the blood vessel. In case of infection, again, like especially in syphilis cases, the blood vessels diameter is expanding, and due to the platelet aggregation, WBC counts increasing, that will lead to again the vascular changes. In some immunologic conditions, especially autoimmune connective tissue disorders. Okay, so what will happen? Connective tissues will get impacted because of the immunologic condition, and that will lastly affect the elasticity of these blood vessels and these cellular internal that substances will be affected due to this connective tissue disorder, and this is leading to again changes in the vascular patency. If any kind of injury is there, we know that we have a healing power in our body. Wound healing mechanism you might have studied in the previous fundamentals. But here what happens that if there is a blunt trauma or a sharp trauma with the arterial puncture, so in that case, many times how it happens, if arterial puncture is not easily accessible, arteries are located very deep in our body. So because of any kind of invasive procedures, we have talked about invasive and non-invasive procedures. The invasive is something we are invading inside through the catheters or any kind of other rods, and we are just diagnostically finding out something. So this is what uh, again sometimes due to negligence or no picture view is clear, then in that case during angiography or cardiac catheterization, arteries will get punctured. Then next is due to hypertension. You know that in hypertension, blood will exert pressure over the walls, and that abnormal pressure, if it is staying for longer period of time, that will again lead to the dilatation of the arteries. In cases of classification, we are saying that classification we have segregated by type, morphology. Morphology means by its creativity, its structure, and location where the aneurysm is. So let's see one by one. Depending on the type, there are Many of them. One is true aneurysm. What is true aneurysm? True aneurysm is the one that is involving all the three layers of arteries. That is intima, media, adventitia. You know that the blood vessel, a single blood vessel is made up of three layers. That is tunica intima, tunica media, tunica adventitia. Okay, so this is true in aneurysm. The whole of these layers are getting affected. So you cannot easily detect. Sometimes if you are getting swelling on a particular whole leg, so you might not detect which part is affected because all of the leg is getting swelled, and because of that particular part is not distended, so you cannot predict that which part is having injured. Next is false aneurysm. In this, what will happen? It will collect the blood leaking. Blood leaking is there completely out of the arteries or veins, but it will confine next to the blood vessels by the surrounding tissue. So blood vessels are being confined around surrounding by the tissues. So between that tissues and the blood vessels outer wall, the blood is leaking out and it is getting collected between these two. So that is called as false aneurysm. According to the morphology, I said that is a structural variation or it can be the morphological variation. These are spherical in shape and involve only a portion of vessel wall varying in size. That is 5 to 20 centimeters. So only one part will be sagging like or bulging like. So you can see that the diameter of particular wall, left lateral wall is getting of the blood vessel is getting bulged, or either right side of the blood vessel wall is getting bulged. Okay, so it can be partially or fully. It is because of thrombus collection. We'll see the picture in next slide. In fusiform aneurysm, these are spindle shaped aneurysms. Both the diameters, like variable in both the diameters and length, usually up to 20 centimeters. So above what we were seeing, that only a single layer is getting affected, a single side is getting affected, but here both of this sides and this sides are also getting affected, and because of that the diameter is being affected and even the length is getting affected. For example, we just consider just very good like illustrations. If the person is very thin, if the person is obese, both of them are having a good height. Okay, might be 5'2", 5'2" or 5'3". They are having that normal height, but the obese one will look bit shorter than the one who is thin. This is because same thing happens in the fusiform. Because of that diameter expansion, the tissues are getting expand towards the lateral side and the height will also collapse. Dissecting aneurysm, dissecting. Okay, what the name suggests means the breakage of the vessel is there, and might be that cells or endothelium have been broken somewhere. So dissecting aneurysm are those in which blood seeps out. It is coming out. Already it's broken, so blood will flow out of it, because you know that the water will make a passage, fluid will make a passage wherever it gets the opening. So it is coming out of the endothelium and accumulates into the layers of the blood vessels. So you can see here in saccular, it is sagging only a side, in a single side. It can be this side or it can be this side. In fusiform, you can see that both of the sides, both of the diameters are getting affected, and it is spindle form. Okay, so it is even shortening the vessel. In dissecting, you can see that has bulged that much, diameter has expanded that much, that the blood is leaking out of the endothelium inner layer cells. It has been excluding out of it, and then it is leaking out of the blood vessels. Okay, what can be the location of it? Arterial and venous. Those arising in arteries called arterial, venous is arising in the veins. You can see this is a real picture of cranium. Okay, so in cranial area, the aneurysm, you can see how it has been bulged out. It is what? It is a fusiform type. Okay, let's see the pathophysiology. We have seen above all the causes. Whatever pathophysiology starts, we can consider from the cause or etiology. So we have seen that it was genetic factor that was we have seen, and trauma or any kind of infection, then what happens? Thick wall will lower the elastic content. Okay, so because of these causes, what will happen? Walls will become thicker. I'm sorry to interrupt. Walls will become thicker, and due to that thickening, the elasticity will lose. Okay, next is medial neovascularization. Because of trauma and tunica, the layers of that blood vessels will expand to compensate the blood pressure. Okay, so that is so much expanded that the blood flow with the some kind of elasticity which was creating or jerking a pressure over the blood to flow, but it has been lost. Next is inflammatory or infiltration. If in case infection is there, definitely the blood vessel will start to break its tissue, and further degradation of that elastic collagen, that is, proteinaceous substance that is deposited, and that will build up the elasticity of the blood vessel, but already it has been lost. So the vessel's diameter will enlarge and aneurysm will be there. Intraluminal thrombus. Okay, if a thrombus has circulated, we talked in previous, if the blood clot or embolysis circulates, then what it will deposit in the capillaries, and that capillaries are struggling to provide the blood into the last extremity. So in that case, what will happen? Due to that pressure, intraluminal thrombus will create a diameter expansion. And lastly, it is because of any other reason or any other kind of aneurysm. What are the clinical manifestation or signs symptoms? If it is unruptured, okay, it is not still broken, and it is a cerebral, it has been taken part in the brain. If aneurysm is there, just remember the blood vessel or tissue, if it is expanding in the brain, it will suppress the tissue located nearby. And if it is suppressing the tissue nearby, yesterday also we talked that if it is being swelled, it will spoil the nearby tissue. It will degenerate or degrade the tissues nearby. So due to that, according to the locations, it will interrupt the functional area. So it will lead to fatigue. It will lead to loss of perception. Perception means what? The person will have no healthy thought processes. Okay, loss of balance. Mobility will be disturbed. Speech problems will be there. Okay, he cannot speak. He cannot have a clear vision. So he will have a double vision. So all these are still in the unruptured case, but it is in the brain. Next is ruptured. If the cerebral aneurysm has ruptured and blood has leaked out. So remember, we have a mechanism that this fibrinogen process, the blood will clot and the blood is flowing out of the brain cells. It may lead to blood clots deposition nearby to the tissues of the brain. So what will happen? Again, severe headaches will be there, loss of vision, double vision, neck pain, and stiffness of the neck will be there, and pain above and behind the eyes. In case of abdominal aneurysm, okay, remember students one thing, that if any case of aneurysm is there and if it is dissecting and it is leaking, it is being ruptured, internal bleeding may start and you might not verify because you are just feeling like symptoms, you are just having headache, you are not aware. It may lead to shock because you are internally bleeding and the blood is getting lost, the person is getting like anemic and he is having a loss of fluid inside. In abdominal aneurysm, what will be the symptoms? Central back pain will be there. Okay, then abdominal edema will be there, vomiting will be there, and lower limb ischemia will be there. Lower periphery will not get enough of blood supply. Flank pain. Okay, what is that flank pain and tenderness? Especially the region below the diaphragm and above the pelvic, that soft region of your abdominal is called flank region, and there they will have the pain because the all of the blood vessels of this renal and all, they are situated at that site. So you can feel a flank pain. Signs of hypovolemic shock, very important. So we have to avoid that they do not go in shock. What can be the diagnostic evaluation we can do? We can go for X-ray. We can find out if any kind of size variations are there or any kind of lesion there, or if any calcification over aorta is there. Then CT scan will again through the radiographies we can find out the size of aneurysm, that how much diameter it has expanded, and if it is to get ruptured we have to suddenly go to the surgical intervention. MRI is again the substitution of that, and it is an advanced procedure. Spiral CT we can see in 3D view of aneurysm. We can see that all the sides which are bulging, it is seen by the spiral CT. The 3D view is being seen. Arteriography we can see in like invading the isotope, radioactive isotopes inside the arteries, injecting them, or it can be engulfed, orally it can be taken, and that radioactive isotope fluid will make you or give you the clear picture on the screen where there is an aortic aneurysm. See this, how the aortic aneurysm can be visualized in case of graphies. Okay. So here you can see this blood vessels diameter have expanded where the arrow is there and aneurysm has been written. So you can see that this is a bulging type of aortic aneurysm seen. See again here also you can see, here also you can visualize, this can be visualized in the x-rays, it can be through the graphies, you can find out how we can manage this. Okay, so always go for the primary treatment. Always start, if you are coming to know that you might have suffering with kind of vascular disorder, so you can go for the small aneurysm follow up to 5 centimeter. Keep in mind what will be the diameter of that, 5 centimeter. With the CT scan in USG every 6 months and strict BP control. If blood pressure will be controlled, then no pressure exerted towards the blood vessels, and it will not break them or not it will rupture the vessels. So next is beta blockers to control the hypertension, calcium channel blockers again given to manage the hypertensive conditions, vasodilators to manage the diameter, sodium nitroprusside is one of the examples, and nitroglycerin is another example we studied in hypertension. What can be the surgery? Surgical intervention means resection of that aneurysm and placement of the prosthetic graft. So in above screen, just let's look for that. Yeah, this part has been bulging. What I have to do? I'm sorry. I can remove this bulging part and I can take a graft from the healthy artery and I can graft it over here. I can place it over here. So this part will be removed. So this can be the resection kind of surgery we can go through, and placement of the prosthetic graft, or it can be graft taken from the outside also. Endovascular grafting means you are using some kind of stent graft. It is attached above below the aneurysm and provides a new channel. So channel for stent, it is, you are aware about that we will place a spring type or a balloon type stent that is easily providing the passage. So where the plaque deposition is there, that can be repaired and that can be giving the proper diameter for this. Okay, next you can see this, how the stent is being placed in this picture. This is the aorta and it is a cross-sectional view. It is abdominal aortic aneurysm. You can see what kind of aneurysm is seen. You have placed a stent or graft released from the catheter. You have to take out that catheter. It is just a guide wire. It is leading the catheter inside so your blood flow can be patent enough. When it has been expanded here, it is slowly it's pulled back and catheter into the leg artery. It has been inserted somewhere. It can be inserted from the femoral artery. This catheter needs for the other side. Okay, and this is very common iliac artery to the legs. I'm sorry. Next is you can see in this blood flow through the stent graft. How it is? You can see now how this is patterned. Once this catheter has been entered, this guide wire will be removed and it can be expanded. So you can see that the normal passage is managed and the plates are being suppressed at the site. So this is the stent splicing. This is also useful in the myocardial infarction. So remember this. Okay, so this is again here, if the aorta was being affected, then in that case we have taken a Dacron graft and we have placed the graft over here. Okay, that is a again material graft that has been foreign material and it has been placed over here. What can be the nursing diagnosis? Very important. Tissue perfusion. We have to give the effective blood supply to the vital organs. That is our motto. So we will correct them. So we will work on the ineffective tissue perfusion to the vital organs affected related to aneurysm. Infection risk has to be controlled. Like if we are undergoing surgery, if you are using septic techniques, it means you're not utilizing aseptic techniques. You are not using the sterilized instruments. So in that case, patient have the higher risk of getting infection, although you are trying to correct the previous disease, but you are giving the infection again. Acute pain related to the pressure of aneurysm on nerves. I said that if there is an aneurysm, it will exert the pressure over the nerves located nearby to it. That nerves will be pressurized and it will give pain. So during surgery also, during diagnostic pressures also, all these things we have to keep in mind. What's acute arterial occlusion? Acute arterial occlusion is a sudden interruption of blood flow which may cause the complete or partial obstruction. So suddenly it has been obstructed, the blood flow is obstructed. It can be due to any of the cause. So that may be somewhere obstructed. Flow may be partially obstructed or completely obstructed. Causes are, we have studied above, that embolization, air or thrombus circulated in the arteries walls. Then in atherosclerosis or arteriosclerosis, immobility, anemia, trauma, compartment syndromes, all these will lead to this aortic aneurysm. In clinical manifestations, we will see what will affect, already pain will be there because nerves are getting suppressed, and loss of sensory and motor function due to emboli blocking the artery. So particular function part of brain is not getting enough of blood supply due to the blockage due to embolus. So affected part will get what? Paralyzed, because that function part has been affected. Pallor and cold it will get because there is no blood supply, and no blood supply means no nutrition, no oxygen. It will be cut off with the blood. So it will be pallor and cold. Anesthetized, okay, almost partially it will be paralyzed. It will be felt like you have been given anesthesia. Edematous, okay, swelling will be there because cells have started struggling for it. Rigid, pulseless, okay. What diagnosis? Again, same thing. USG, radionuclide scan, arteriography we will do, MRI and spiral CT we can do. Management through the drug therapy. Surgery we can go. Embolectomy. At that particular part, if embolus has deposited within the 6 or 10 hours to prevent the muscle necrosis, we have to do embolectomy. Okay, it is ectomy. Means we have to remove that particular part, or we have to open that vessel and we have to remove that embolus. Fasciotomy. What is that fasciotomy? Incision is made over the leg compartment to aid the expansion of edematous tissue and relieve the pressure. So you are just trying to expand that particular part and you are relieving the pressure by the edematous. I gave an example that what is happening, the fridge is overburdened with the tomatoes, and that one tomato is keeping a pressure over the others and it's spoiling them. So I'll just remove that one tomato. So it will relieve the pressure. So same thing here happening. So just expansion of that, relieving of that edematous tissue, and that will relieve the pressure over the arterial system. Lastly, I yesterday told amputation, because one affected limb or one affected thumb will be damaging the whole of the limb. So better to remove the whole of the leg. It is better to remove that thumb portion. And lastly, bed rest. What we can go with the nursing diagnosis? We will work for the sensory perception. So you are going to work on the disturbed sensory perception related to impaired blood supply, where even in the cases you are getting less blood supply in the periphery region, sensations are lost. Just feel that if you are being tied up in your leg with a rubber band or high stocking, slowly you will just have a tingling sensation and the blood supply is cut off. So slowly you will not have a sensation of movement also. Many times we are sitting with a cross legs, you will get cut off in the legs blood supply, and that will lead to what? Disturbed sensory perception. You will not have any kind of sensation even if you will get injury because of sharp metal. Then ineffective tissue perfusion is very important, and you have to supply the blood flow through any kind of intervention. It can be the medication or it is a surgical repair. to relieve that clot and have a healthy patent supply of blood. And we have to see for the infection risk due to the surgery. So this is what we have studied in the aneurysm. And if you are having any kind of problem, you can just discuss. Then this is what aneurysm is, what the vessels disorder we see that they are different types because of the bulging part. It was morphologically segregated.